Jousting in Game of Thrones isn't just knights running at each other with sticks. At Ashford, one joust literally changes the future of the Iron Throne. So today, I want to break down how jousting actually works in Westeros and why Ashford matters so much. When we hear the word joust, we usually picture two knights charging each other on horseback, and yeah, that's partially true. But in Westeros, jousting is a mix of sport, combat training, and public reputation. Two mounted knights face off. They both wear heavy armor. All right, they carry shields, and they charge at each other with long wooden lances, usually blended for tournaments. Right, the goal isn't to kill your opponent. Right, the goal is to prove skill, control, and dominance. Right. In Westeros, jousting is basically the NFL combine for knights. All right, here's how a standard joust works. Right, each charge is called a tilt. Knights make multiple passes at each other. You score points for clean hits, especially if you break your lance on your opponent's shield. Okay, best possible outcome if you knock your opponent off his horse. All right, that's the knockout punch, and that's what people remember. All right, that's how songs get written about you. And your reputation is worth more than currency in Westeros. It's everything. Why tournaments matter so much, right? Tournaments aren't just for entertainment, right? They're job interviews. And in a great showing, it can get you a place in a noble household, a powerful backer, somebody that can support you financially, and even a royal appointment. Okay, there's a lot of those guys that enter with the hopes of getting their own, being able to afford their own land. So this is definitely one way to reach that goal, right? If you're a nobody knight, this is your one chance to matter. This is it. This is your one chance to matter, right? And that's what makes Ashford so dangerous. You have a bunch of guys with egos who are trying to make a name for themselves, right? The Ashford tournament was different. Uh, it appears to be normal at first, all right, but there's a huge crowd. There's important nobles such as the Targaryens, the Tullys, the Baratheons, and members of the royal family were watching. They're tuned in. They're locked in, right? And Arbor Dunk enters as a nobody. Okay, he's just like a regular person, just entering in, trying to make a name for himself, right? And an interesting thing that happens during it is the trial by seven. Right, I'm not going to get too much into details about it, but the trial by seven uh, happens. It is a rare form of combat. It is a rare form of combat, right? You get seven champions per side, and it's seen as a judgment by the gods, right? It's basically legalized chaos, right? And that's something that we're going to see happen in the next few episodes. All right, it's definitely not normal. It's not fair, and it's extremely dangerous. All right, this is where jousting stops being sport, and it becomes destiny. It literally becomes destiny. Why it matters to the story. This is why jousting actually matters in Game of Thrones. All right, it determines your honor. Right, it creates legends. It starts wars. It changes bloodlines. Okay, so it's quite a few things that happen in the Ashford tourney, that especially one particular thing that changes the fate of a lot of stuff. Right, there's one blow that absolutely, like, it removes the king from the board. Okay, and I'll leave that at that. All right, nobody realizes it happened at that moment, but the ripple effect lasts for generations, and it's felt in the Game of Thrones that everybody knows and loves. That primary story. This isn't about a broken lance. It's about how fragile power really is in Westeros. Okay, all right. And that brings me to my last point, guys. Ashford proves something important. All right, in Game of Thrones, history doesn't change in throne rooms. All right, it changes in the dirt. Changes in the dirt. All right. Next time, I want to talk about the Targaryens who should have ruled and how one accident just totally rewrote history. Right, rewrote history. All right. You guys, appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.